Hey guys, I'm here today with the Source Audio Nemesis delay, and is it really worth it in 2023 since it's been out for quite some time? And a spoiler, yes, it absolutely is. The reason I haven't made a video about this for quite some time is I really wanted to make sure these were back in stock so people could actually get them without scalping them and going through scalper pricing. They were out of stock for quite some time, along with the Ventress reverb, which I'll do a video about the Ventress. But this is one of my favorite delays. It sounds absolutely wonderful. It sounds wonderful in an ambient context. I think that's where it really shines. But even its normal feature set or algorithms sound great. That's what I'm going to go over today. So why would you get this over a Collider, for example, which is also Source Audio pedal? That's awesome. It includes some of the algorithms from this and from the Ventress, which I'll be doing a video on the Collider and the Ventress sometime in the future. I've used these pedals quite a bit in my music, but never really discussed them. So the reason you'd be getting the Nemesis is because there's more algorithms. There's a few algorithms that are just absolutely fantastic on this that don't exist on the Collider, for instance. So here I have my Minilog XD. I have a sawtooth wave. It sounds really nice, obviously, because the Minilog does. But it's boring, so let's make it interesting. This is where the Nemesis shines. So let's just go into a standard like digital delay. What you see on the front is what I have it set to right now. And you should be listening to this in stereo, but it's an absolutely gorgeous digital delay. All right. Intensity control on this algorithm is like a tone control. And by default, without using the editing software, you get a kind of ping pong thing going. And we have modulation here, which makes it sound even better. And let's engage that. It can go from subtle to extremely wild. Turn it up to about here for now. Give it a little more feedback. Maybe a little more mod. And here's where we can go really extreme. Other algorithms take the modulation a little bit more extreme than that, but I think it's really great. It has a lot of range. And that's, I think, where it excels in the digital algorithm. But that's not what you buy the Nemesis for. There's plenty of awesome modulated digital delays out there, like the Pigtronics Ecolution 3, for instance, I've done a video on. So yeah, here's where it gets kind of cool. We'll go to the Diffuse algorithm, and Diffuse just diffuses the repeats. Kind of, it adds a reverb quality to them. You can almost get an oil can delay out of that. This has an oil can delay, but the only way to access it is with the editor. I'm not going to go over the editor today, but I'll talk about a little bit about it. And intensity increases the diffusion in this. Let's turn that up. Oh, yeah. Let's turn up a little bit of time. It just smears those repeats. No diffusion. Lots. Really cool. Let's turn up the modulation a little. Really cool. Let's listen to a pad. I'll use my noise pad. You can really tell the diffusion there because there's white noise in here and the diffusion is rounding it off and making it sound almost reverby. Without and with. Turn down the modulation for the next algorithm and we'll go ahead and go back there. I'm going to go back to that plucked patch and we'll go to the analog mode. Analog really sounds awesome on here. Let's turn the intensity to the middle. You get some nice warm repeats that way. While not the best analog algorithm I've ever heard, it does sound very nice. If you don't think of it as an analog algorithm, it's actually quite great. So, all the way to the right is extremely bright repeats. I mean, it does the proper like static and stuff, bucket loss, I should say. I don't know what I was going for there, but yeah. You can make it extremely dark, of course, too. The modulation is really good in this mode. Hold on, let's turn it here. You can hear that pitch vibrato going on, and it's beautiful with the modulation. Next, we'll go to the tape mode. The tape mode's pretty good. It's not my favorite tape. Obviously, the favorite tape of mine is the Volante or the El Capistan, but we have Wow and Flutter with the modulation here. And intensity is kind of like a tone control again, I believe, on this one. Sure is. Very beautiful filtering on there. Turn down. Actually, let's hear that one with some pads with that all cranked down. Yeah, let's do that. That stereo image is beautiful. Let's go to noise tape. More of the same, just noisier. I believe intensity makes it noisier. Yes, it adds overdrive and everything. Wonderful. All right, let's go to Degrade, which is at lo-fi setting. And intensity is your bit crusher, I believe. Again, noise tape and Degrade are ones you don't get with the collider. Degrade is really nice. Especially if you don't go a little too overboard on the intensity. Oh, maybe if you want to, too. There's that aliasing. Let's hear that on my noise pad. Noise into noise. great. And here's where the magic really starts to happen with the pitch shifting on this thing. So the shifter lets you change, I think the middle is no pitch shifting. Let's turn the mod down. Mod is super noticeable on this one. No, I guess. No. Not sure where Unity is on that. Oh well. It's a pitch shifter. We'll listen to it. Like, okay, so here's an octave for sure. It's an amazing pitch shifter. I'm just gonna say that. You have a lot more options with the editor for the pitch shifter, like to do some filtering and stuff like that, but just by default, here's a fifth. Exactly where I love to use it. So let's turn up the feedback a little. This is where it gets cool, and we'll add a little bit of modulation. That's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and just use some sharps here because the fifth into the sharps and the way I have this tuned, it'll sound really cool. Turn down the mix a little. Like I said, the modulation is very pronounced in the pitch shifting mode. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like the pitch shifting is applied to the, the modulation is applied to the pitch shifting in this mode, so it's much more apparent. Or maybe it's amplified because there's a pitch shifting effect. Let's hear that with the noise pad. Down there. Hold on. I might pair this with the Ventress in a later video. I'm going to do a video on the Ventress for sure. But yeah, that's gorgeous, especially into a reverb, but even by itself. Okay, let's go to another one of the really cool algorithms, and that's Helix. This is kind of like crystals, I believe it's called crystals, on the pitch factor pedal by Eventide, and it's a reverse delay into a pitch shifter, and it's absolutely gorgeous as well. So let's do that. I believe it's an octave. I think you can change it in the editor as well, so you can change the intervals. I'm actually almost positive for sure you can do that, but yeah. And intensity is how dark and bright it is. Make it really dark and it's really cool. Let's add a little mod. We can make it really bright. I like it around there. Now, I believe the collider would be, like, hands down, well, it is one of the best delay reverb combos on the market, but if you could do the Helix mode on it, which you can't, I think it would just be so much more amazing. But, you know, Then they would cut into selling Nemesis delays, of course, but now let's hear the noise pad on that. I messed up there for a second because you have to play this in a pentatonic minor in order for this patch or the tuning to work right, but you can hear that modulation and it's beautiful. So there's a reverse, and what makes the reverse super special? Well, we'll hear. The reverse is kind of amazing on this thing. The reverse is the same on the Collider. It has this cool feature too, and we'll listen to that right now. Go back to the pluck patch. It's a reverse. I mean, what makes it so special? Now the intensity control. Now it's a 2-tap reverse. Let's turn up the time all the way. And I know a lot of people ask, can it do completely kill dry? Of course it can. Let's turn the mix all the way up. Two-tap completely wet. Reverse. And that sounds just phenomenal into a reverb. But even by itself again, it even has modulation. Turn back the wet signal a little. Can go a little insane on that. It's just a really cool reverse. That second tap just makes it really neat. Okay, let's turn the intensity to the middle here, turn the mod off, and go to Sweeper. Sweeper is a filtered delay. Intensity sets the Q of the filter, so the resonance. This one's also really fun with pads. You can hear that resonance now. Very lovely. Have the feedback really high. Of course it has modulate. Actually, the modulation here, wow. So that is different here. The modulation controls how the filter sweeps, obviously. Awesome. Alright, let's turn that down. Let's go to the rhythm. This is kind of like the multi-delays on the DD 500 and 200. The multi-tap, I guess you would call it. Let's go back here. And intensity controls your pattern. In the manual, there is a chart that shows you the pattern. And modulation plays in normally. I like pattern delays a lot. I think they work best with pads, of course. Because it kind of breaks up the monotony of it. especially with some modulation. But yeah, really great stuff. Yeah, mainly the pitch shifting on this is what makes it cool, but in general, it's just a great sounding delay. It's very compact. Slapback is just a very short. It can get very short. Intensity is your tone control, I believe. I don't use short echoes all that often. I mean, in something like this, you can use it to make a chorus, of course, because you can get super short. Gotta turn down the feedback for that, but it's a little too much, of course. Not the best sounding chorus or vibrato, but I don't get the point of using a delay pedal to take on a chorus pedal. Of course, a chorus pedal and a delay pedal have in common that they're time-based, but there's just so much other things to do with this, and since the modulation's so deep on a lot of the algorithms, you can just use that instead of a chorus pedal on its own there. Yeah, so it's a very good sounding pedal. I still think it's 100% worth it in 2023. They're now available again. They were out of stock for a very long time, including the Source Audio Ventris, which I will do a video soon on the Source Audio Ventris by itself. I've had these pedals for a while. I just haven't made videos because I felt guilty about going and I've had a Nemesis. I borrowed one. I got one of my own, but I've had the Ventris for a while, I should say. I haven't wanted to make a video about them because they were hard to get. Now I own my own Nemesis since they're available again. And yeah, so they sound absolutely fantastic. I don't know. I keep saying that, but it's great, especially the pitch shifting. That's what I'm planning on using the most on this, the Helix and the shifter. Now, a lot of the functionality is under the hood, and you need to use the editor, in my opinion. But the editor's recently been updated along with the firmware, so you can use it on an iPad or Android device through USB. You used to be able to edit them using the audio out of a device, but since headphone jacks aren't a thing anymore in a lot of devices, yeah, that's a thing. But the audio out into this from a iPad or something was a one-way communication streak. So you couldn't upload and download patches easily. You couldn't recall a patch into the editor. You couldn't see what your configuration was and things like that. But now USB works on mobile devices such as the iPad. So you can use the editor with a USB cable, which is fantastic. It's something I've complained about in the past on forums and things like that. I just didn't understand why it wasn't a thing until now, but now that's not a gripe anymore. Again, you really need the editor to do some really fantastic stuff with this thing because, for instance, you can have diffusion work in a pitch shifting mode. Things like that. You can control the filtering in a pitch shifting mode. Things that you just don't have enough knobs for on the front of it. The only complaint I have on the mobile editor, where it's fine on a PC or a Mac, obviously you can edit it on your desktop machine / laptop. On most devices, unless you have an iPad with the, I guess it's Stage Manager, it loads as a phone application, which means it only works vertically. The workaround is using something like an M1 or M2 iPad that has the Stage Manager feature, and then you can run the application in a window, and then it'll run horizontally, which it's a pain to use this pedal as editor on an iPad vertically because you just don't have an easy way for the USB port to connect to your iPad without getting in the way. If it's horizontal, you can have it obviously horizontal and it comes out of one of the sides. It's just a little nitpick. I hope that they can update the editor software to deal with different orientations of your, like a iPad or something. I know that's not the use case. The use case is to use your phone, but still, even on a phone, having the option to have the editor in a horizontal orientation without a little hacky method would be great. So if Source Audio actually watches this, that'd be really cool if you can update your mobile application to support horizontal and vertical views. But yeah, that said, absolutely fantastic. Glad I got one of my own. I borrowed one years ago, really loved it, and I just never got around to getting one, and then I got one, and it's definitely usable for my ambient context. It's more than usable for my ambient context. That pitch shifting sounds wonderful on a synth. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.